So today I want to give you a quick overview of the Creative Commons license and why the Children's Literature Membership Committee is advising those participants in the Syllabus Exchange to use it in their projects when they share it. All right, so let's get started. So first and foremost, this kind of brings up this big question of, well, what is the Creative Commons license and how does it differ from the public domain? So in this case, I just want to note that whenever you create any given piece of art or sculpture or music or a given text, right, we automatically own the copyright to that. Many of us are already familiar with this, whether through teaching plagiarism or having to go through copyright workshops when we begin publishing. So with that in mind, many of us as teachers, however, tend to share our materials in the public domain, i.e., we sort of give up our copyright and we allow everybody to have access to the materials and then also to share and remix them. And that's one of the most inspiring things about being a teacher and in being in these academic communities. I get to learn so much from everyone else's experience and how they structure their classroom or how they create particular projects and then use it to create a better experience for my students. It's downright inspiring. But with that in mind, I also recognize that oftentimes when we share our materials in the public domain, the original creator of that does not receive any credit for that work. And this can become a problem when we consider the ways in which many individuals, not only at ChLA, but in academic communities across the world, often, whether due to their identity or due to their position at the university, don't really receive enough credit for the work that they do. And so with this in mind, the Creative Commons license is a way that we can really recognize and celebrate how our peers have really helped us become better teachers, better scholars, etc. And so that's kind of why we want you to use this Creative Commons license. But let me tell you a little bit more about what that Creative Commons license is. So first and foremost, in order to provide you an overview, I'm actually going to go straight to the website itself, which is www.creativecommons.org. So if you click on this link, it'll send you straight to the website where they discuss Creative Commons. If you get really interested in this, I really suggest exploring through this website. It's got a lot of resources and a lot of materials that we don't necessarily have the time to go through here. But the Creative Commons is a way of kind of putting a little bit of a stamp on a project that allows people to, first and foremost, know how they can use your material in their own work. It allows you to let people know that they can freely share your work, remix it, and then also allow you to still retain the credit for that work. So it's a licensing system that works really well, but it can seem a little bit daunting. So I'm actually going to go through the steps of how to use the Creative Commons license so that you can feel a little bit more comfortable and you'll know whether or not this is right for you. And I do really want to highlight, if after you watch this video, this does not appeal to you, you are absolutely welcome to share your materials through the public domain. But if you do find this interesting or you think this would be useful, let me walk you through the steps of using this particular material. So the first things first is there's a ton of different types of licenses, and they're usually based around whether or not you're going to allow people to share it, to adapt it or remix it, and if you want people to be able to make money off of it. So the first thing that you want to do is if you click on Share Your Work, which is up at the top bar here, you're going to be sent to a nice little quiz that will help you choose the right license. And so in this case, there's a few different ways of doing it, but I like this little quiz here. I always click the Get Started button, and it'll send you to this little list of questions. Now, first and foremost, the first question you want to think about is, do you want to allow adaptations of your work to be shared? So in general, I would say, yes, I really want people to share my own work because I think it's really important. Now, with that in mind, I would click yes. would I want people to share commercial uses of my work or to make money off of my work? I would actually probably say no. In this case, I would feel really uncomfortable if someone took a project of mine and ended up putting it under a paywall. That would make me uncomfortable. So an example, I'm going to actually show you one of my own projects, and I'm going to kind of walk through how I would show that I'm using this license for this project. Now, a little bit of background information. This project I have used in my writing and lit classes as a way of encouraging participation in my class. I call it my Participation Achievements Worksheet. Now, I've developed this system actually really based upon my own experience as a disabled student. As someone with multiple kinds of health problems that make speaking up sometimes hard or impossible, it's really important for me to allow my own students to engage in the class in ways that feel best suited for their own abilities and needs. And so in this case, I have all kinds of options that allow people to engage with class or outside of class or even contribute to a great classroom environment. Now, I think this is cool. I've been playtesting it over the last really 5-6 years to a lot of success. Students really, really like this system. And so with that in mind, I would love for other people to use it. But as I said, I would like people to give me credit. This is very much based upon my own time and labor, and so that's kind of important to me. So with that in mind, if we go back to the Creative Commons license, choosing the license again, as long as I tell people that I want them to attribute this to me in a non-commercial way, then people can use it as they will. So once you choose the options, yes, I want them to use it and to share if they adapt it, and if I say, no, I don't want you to allow commercial uses, then what you want to do is actually click on this link, the selected license. So I'm going to be using the Attribution Non-Commercial 4.0 International License. If I click on this link, it'll give me, again, the exact breakdown of what's allowed. Anyone can share, copy, and redistribute the material in any medium or format. They can also adapt it, remix, transform, and build upon the material. So, for example, I have as one of the optional participation achievements, students can go to the LTS training session in order to prepare for the project. But that might not make sense, right? This is our Learning Technology Center. If you aren't using things that are particularly tech-heavy, or maybe not doing multimodal composition, which is what this is for, well, that might not work. You could delete it and replace it with something that better reflected your own classroom goals or your students' needs or the campus environment as a whole. So with that in mind, if someone were to actually share or adapt my work, they would have to provide me, some attribution. So giving me some credit and telling me telling the audience if any changes were made. Again, they would not be allowed to use it for commercial reasons. So with that in mind, in this moment, you still do have to provide some notice to your audience that you have this license. You can't just toss it out there and assume people will know. So with that in mind, if you go down to the bottom of your license page, you'll notice it'll say learn more about CC licensing or use the license for your own material. If you click on the link that's attached to use the license, it'll send you to a nice page that has either buttons for web pages, if you want to use this, and how it's going to appear on a website, or since I actually hand this stuff out with print copies, if you click on the sentence to mark a document not on the web, add this text to your work, it'll bring up a nice little license for you to copy and then paste into your project. I like to always create a little footnote at the bottom so it's nice and easy for my audiences to see, but it doesn't look overly messy in any way. So I could just share this as it stands, and I would be perfectly happy to do that. Anyone could sort of look at it, use it in their own classrooms. But let's say that in this case, you wanted to use it in your own classroom. Well, you actually would have to change the document a little bit to show that you used it and you were attributing it to me. So in this case, what you would want to do is provide attribution. So the attribution system, which you can find under creativecommon's.org/use-remix/get-permission. So if you were going to attribute this to me, you would want to follow it by title, the word by, and then my name, which is Mackenzie Fastland. Then write is licensed under CC by, now this is CC 2.0, but you would need to use the actual license that I used, which is a CC 4.0. So this is what it would look like. I would type in participation achievements worksheet. And then I would go by Mackenzie Fastland. And then I would type in is licensed under CC 4.0. Now, let's say you adapted it, which honestly, if you use this, you would have to, because I have a bunch of the name of our actual library. So unless you're at my particular university, well, you're going to have to change it. It's actually pretty simple. And you would just have to type in the words adapted from Participation Achievements Worksheet by Mackenzie Fastland. Is licensed under 4.0. So it's actually pretty easy to use this, implement it in your own work, and if you wanted to use someone else who's licensed it, it's really easy to adapt it and add in the right attribution. Once again, you do not have to do this. If you prefer just working in the public domain, you are absolutely welcome to do that. No way do we want to force people to use the Creative Commons license unless they want to. But if you do want to, I really advise it because it's, again, such a wonderful way to recognize the really hard work that everyone here, not only at the Children's Literature Association, but all of our peers in academia, all the hard work they put into their classrooms and into their students' experience at the university. All right, so thank you so much. Once again, if you have any other questions, I would definitely check out creativecommons.org. They have tons and tons of resources. And other than that, I do hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.